As sports fans, this is such a good part of the year. We got March Madness that just wrapped up, and now we're on to the NBA playoffs. NBA playoffs are so much fun. I'm assuming most of us fans don't watch all 82 games for every team, and if you do, it's probably because you're a diehard fan of like your favorite team. But now we get into the best part of the season. NBA playoffs is electric. I mean, we saw that last night. I'm recording this in between both days of the playing games. So currently, right now, the Bulls are playing. So that game hasn't wrapped up, but I do want to talk about what has finished. Now, last night we had the Warriors and the Grizzlies. That game was so much fun to watch. I mean, it shouldn't have been as close as it was. Like, if we're being completely honest, it should not have been anywhere near that close. Because in that first half, Jimmy Butler, he scored 38. But in the first half, he had 21, and it looked like it was going to be a blowout game all game. And then the Warriors, in their fashion, like they always do, just made mistake after mistake, missed shot after shot, and the Grizzlies slowly crept up into it. And if it wasn't for Steph going off in the second half, like it reminded me of all those series that we used to watch when it was LeBron v Steph in the finals. We just seen him go berserk in that second half. He was making long threes. He was dishing, diving, getting to the rack. That was such a fun game to watch. It made me think, though. Ja Morant got hurt in that game. Would that game have ended the way it did if Ja Morant wouldn't have gotten hurt? I don't know. I mean, I know Steph's record in the play-in isn't all that great. Pretty sure he's lost every play-in he's ever been in. But Ja Morant rolls his ankle, and I thought it was like a super serious injury. And even though he came back in, he was hobbling the entire time, and it didn't give me any hope that the Grizzlies would win when I seen him come back in, or even when I seen him roll his ankle at the beginning. Desmond Bane had 30. He looked incredible last night. If you would have mixed that with Ja Morant being completely healthy the entire game, I don't know that the Warriors win last night. And it's not because I don't think they're the better team. I definitely think the Warriors are the better team. The Grizzlies just played pretty well, and they have a pretty decent team. They've got a decent roster. That roster potentially could be championship worthy if Ja Morant could actually shoot the ball behind the three. Ja Morant shooting at high volume, if he was somewhere around 37 to 40%, that team might have what it takes to go the distance because Jaren Jackson Jr. is a pretty good player. He's damn good. Desmond Bane, he just knows how to live up to the moment. Every time I see Desmond Bane in a place where he needs to make big shots at big moments, he does. I genuinely think that Ja Morant is holding the Grizzlies back. It has nothing to do with him not being an incredible player. He is. I love watching Ja Morant play. I am a Ja Morant fan. I've had so much enjoyment watching him mess with all the NBA officials with his celebrations and all the TikToks and Instagram reels that come out of people making fun of his celebrations and making new ones. But when you shoot that little percentage from behind the three, I don't imagine you're going to be successful in today's NBA. When you watch him play, when you watch an entire game of the Grizzlies, when you watch the Grizzlies play an entire game, you see John Morant go for shots that I don't think any other player could get away with. Genuinely. When they go in, it's a highlight reel and it's on SportsCenter Top 10. When John Morant misses those shots, it just makes you scratch your head like, what the hell are you doing? For instance, last night in that game, he does that alley-oop layup to himself. If he would have missed that, everybody would have been like, what the hell are you doing? Pass the ball or do something else. It's funny to me that he makes up all these ways to get to the rack instead of just learning how to shoot the ball from deep better. I don't think he needs to be the best shooter in the league, but if he's shooting high volume above 30, let's say 33%, if he's shooting a pretty high volume and shooting that well from behind the three, that team looks a lot different and probably has a couple more wins than they did and may not even be in the play-in tournament. That's just my opinion. I still will watch the Grizzlies play because I love watching John Morant play. I love watching Desmond Bane play. I know they've had a lot of problems with coaching. They just fired their coach right before the playoffs. I know that has an effect on a team. But it always makes me think how much John Morant has to do with that firing. They pay him that big contract. He gets hurt. He gets hurt. He gets hurt. He gets suspended for all that stuff. Keeps getting fined. The Warriors pulled out that win, though. And Jimmy and Steph looked amazing. But Kuminga? I think Kuminga's a good player. But he gets benched in the last game of the regular season. And then we didn't see anything from Kuminga last night. As if he got benched. I don't know what's happening. Kuminga should have been in that game. That's a position that he thrives so well in. When you're playing a team that is so athletic, so young, so scrappy, and so fast, that is Kuminga's play style. And he was nowhere to be found. He would have helped a lot last night with the rebounds because Steph led the Warriors in rebounding last night. And they got absolutely crushed on the boards. They were nowhere near close to the Grizzlies in boards last night. The Grizzlies were pretty much playing a bunch of bigs out there. I mean, Edie and Jaren Jackson essentially playing a double big lineup the entire night. The Warriors move on, and now they will play the Houston Rockets. Number 2 seeded Houston Rockets. The game before that was the Magic and the Hawks. I didn't find it all that great of a game. I thought Paolo and Franz looked nowhere to be found. Cole Anthony was the reason that the Magic beat the Hawks last night. I mean, he scored 26. The star players on the Magic, Paolo and Franz, shot awful from behind the three. Trae Young had like 28 points or 27 points or whatever it was, but he gets thrown out because he wants to mess around with the refs, yell at them, fake little big. You know when you have a little sibling or you have an older sibling and you play basketball with them and they would fake handing you the ball, then bring it back, fake handing you the ball, you try to go grab it. He did that to the refs last night and gets ejected in the game. I don't think Trae Young's going to be a Hawk next year. There's just something about Trae that sets off a lot of people. I wonder how much that'll plummet his trade stock when it comes to next season. Will teams want that? Will teams want the foul baiting? He's very outspoken. He's so much fun to watch as a fan. I'm not a coach. I don't care. I will always watch Trae Young. Something about Trae Young irks officials, irks team management, irks some fans. He doesn't read the room. The Hawks needed him last night in that game, and instead of going, you know what, I'll get over it, go on to the next play, the next scheme, the next minutes in the game, he decides to argue with the refs and get ejected. So I don't know. But I genuinely don't think that he will be a Hawk next year. The Hawks aren't completely out of it yet. They will play the winner of tonight's game. And it's looking like they're going to play Miami because Miami's up 20 right now. So now we move on to the actual matchups, the ones that are set in stone. We're going to start with the West first. The Lakers and Timberwolves. Man, this is going to be such a fun series. Oh man, is this going to be a fun series. You got Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle, Naz Reid, LeBron, Luka, Austin Reeves. We do get to finally see a Laker playoff Gabe Vincent. He was hurt a lot of that first year when he went to the Lakers. And the year before that, he was part of the Miami Heat team that went all the way to the finals and lost. But Anthony Edwards, man, has he been so good this year. Even better than we thought he would be. We see him come into the league, take over the team as the number one guy, the team with Cat. We see him in that movie, acting, being funny, being goofy. We get to see all the highlight reel plays, dunking on people, talking trash, all the funny quotes. And this year, he comes into the team with no more Cat, putting all that weight on his shoulders. He's got to do it all now. I like Julius Randle. I don't think he's as good as Cat is. And he comes into this league even better than he was last year. As if he had been in the gym all offseason working on all the things, all the flaws that he had in his game. He is shooting 40% from three right now at a super high volume. Extremely high. He's one of he's one of a few players who shoots 40% and shooting either 3 or 400 threes a year. That is insane. And then on the other side, we got LeBron and Luka. We get to see a LeBron and Luka playoff series. Two players that get even better when the offseason comes. From the start of his career, Luka has been going berserk in the playoffs. Same with LeBron. LeBron always seems to rise to the moment. Have there been some faults? Yes, but he's been in the playoffs like almost every year he's been in the league. You're going to have some fault and some bad games. Now we get to see them together. It's not all on LeBron's shoulders. He gets to take some time off during games. We get to finally see Luka in the purple and the yellow do what he does best and that's show up big in playoff times. I think this series is going to be closer than many people think, at least the general public. A lot of us that watch a lot of NBA games maybe have a different perspective on this. And Austin Reeves has gotten so much better throughout the years. He consistently gets better. Every single year does he get better. The only thing that worries me about the Lakers in this series, they don't have real good bigs. They've got girth, but they're not tall. This is not a tall team. And especially when you get into their bench, they're not all that big either. I mean, Dalton Knecht is a big guy on the bench. He's tall, but he's not a guy that's going to be banging in the post, getting boards. He's not a Zach Edey type guy. He's going to space the floor, shoot some threes. Rui is not big. I think they're going to have to rely on Luka and LeBron way too much in the series to get boards. I don't like that. They shouldn't have to do that. Do I think the Lakers are going to win this series? Yes. But I also would not be surprised if the Timberwolves win in 7 or win in 6. Anthony Edwards is that good. With the rosters the way they are, I don't think the Timberwolves should win. But when it comes to playoff time, anything can happen. And after about game 3, they always say, I know every move you're going to do. I know every play you're going to run. And then it just comes to performing when the moment comes. Still going to be so much fun of a series. I had the Lakers in 6. Possibly 7. Again, I just wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Edwards has 2 or 3 games where he's shooting lights out. That game gets close. Somebody has to hit her buzzer beater. I think these teams are so evenly matched. I think the Lakers have all the offensive power in the world. Those games where LeBron and Luka just aren't shooting very well, these games could get a lot closer when the Timberwolves are grabbing every board. Anthony Edwards is hitting big shots. Julius Randle has a game or two where he's, making 15, 20 points. This might be the most watched series of the first round. The next series, the Clippers and the Nuggets. Another series I think is a little bit closer than people expect. When this series first got announced, the Nuggets were favorites. And it's slowly dwindled down to a pick'em. People are putting money on the Clippers now. And now it's a pick'em. Now, mind you, the Nuggets just fired their head coach before the first round of the playoffs. So, new coach. You got Kawhai, who's not hurt. He seems to be healthy. He might not play a ton of minutes. I don't know. He does sit to heal his body and get some rest. You got James Harden. He's looking real well. I think opinions have changed on him based on his play this year and somewhat of last year. It does scare me that James Harden seems to plummet in the playoffs. Something always happens. It may not always be his fault. He's not always a guy who's going to perform big in these moments and tends to make mistakes and have bad games. You got Zubac and Norman Powell. Norman Powell's been shooting lights out this year. He's been electric. He probably should have been an all-star. Nikola Jokic, the best player in the world. I wish I didn't have to say that. I wish it weren't true. I'm kidding. I love watching Jokic play. The only reason I say I wish it weren't true is because I do think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander deserves it this year. But I have to look at it this way. Jokic, it's putting up incredible numbers. Incredible numbers. But his plus or minus when he's on or off the floor, the Nuggets go from a playoff team when he's on the floor to a team that probably misses the playoffs if he's not on the floor. Jamal did not look good all this beginning of the beginning of this regular season. He looked pretty bad. I've never seen Jamal look that bad. Maybe right after he came back from injury. You got Aaron Gordon. I think he's had a pretty good year. I think Aaron Gordon has had a really good year. He's been really fun to watch. Michael Porter Jr.'s been pretty quiet. They got the young Christian Brown. Kind of that Bruce Brown replacement. Guy comes off the bench. Helps bring a little life into the play. You got Russell Westbrook. Weird how 5, 6, 7 years ago they were having debates on every show whether he was going to be a first-round Hall of Famer when he averaged a triple-double throughout that season. And come to this year where he's getting made fun of, he's getting bashed, he's a bench player on a team with another guy who is averaging a triple-double throughout the year. The only difference is if you watch those highlights of when Russell Westbrook was averaging a triple-double, they're kind of bad. He's jumping over people to get every rebound. You can tell that he is intentionally padding his stats trying to get that record. Trying to be on the level of Oscar Robertson averaging a triple-double throughout the season. And then you watch Jokic, this European guy who doesn't talk a lot, who every time you watch him, it feels like he just doesn't want to be out there with the way he plays, with the way he jogs up and down the court and talks to media. But when you watch him play, when you watch Nikola Jokic play, it's like watching an artist paint where the emotion is in the action that they're doing rather than the emotion on their face or the emotion in their voice. He is so good at everything. There's not a person on the Nuggets or the Clippers in both series that I think are better at than Nikola Jokic. For instance, there's not a better passer on either team than Nikola Jokic. There's not a better post player on either team than Nikola Jokic. There's not a better rebounder. There's not a better shooter from the paint, from the post, and from the three than Nikola Jokic on either of these teams. He is so good at everything. Everything. He may not want to go to the parades they throw, and he may only want to be at home in Serbia, riding his horses, betting on horse races. But he shows up, and he plays every night, and he plays incredibly every night. I don't know where this team would be if he wasn't on this team. Or if anything happened to him where he wasn't able to play, this team would not be good. and they're in the playoffs against the Clippers at a pick'em, he's carrying this team. Jokic is my MVP this year, but if Shea wins it, I have no issue with that. I love Shea. I love watching him play. I just think that the Thunder would still be a pretty solid playoff team if he wasn't on the team. And if Jokic wasn't on the Nuggets, I don't think they'd be in the playoffs. I think this series is going to go down to 7. I wouldn't be surprised either way. The only thing I cannot understand is ever since Kawhi Leonard has been on the Clippers, every single year, there's always talks that they can make and go on a run. When it was Paul George on the team or James Harden, every time it comes around playoff time, every analysis, everybody thinks that if Kawhi plays and is healthy, they can win a championship. And yet, every year he's failed to do so. The years he's been hurt, I can completely understand. But the years he's been healthy, something always happens where they lose way too early in the tournament, way too early in the playoffs. And yet, every single year, people think he can go on a run. Is it really all just because of the Toronto run? Do people hold him to that high of a standard because of that run? I don't know. If he deserves it, he deserves it. I just see all the analysis go, well, if Kawhi's healthy, I think they can go all the way. I do think the Nuggets have the better player between both teams. I just think the Clippers probably have the more consistent and better performing roster this year. Norman Powell's been amazing. Zubac's been amazing. If James Harden can play the way he's been playing in the regular season, in the playoffs, I think they can beat the Nuggets. But if you have a bad couple James Harden games, and one of those games where Jamal Murray plays like he's one of the best top 10 point guards in the league, I think the Nuggets could end this series. Now I see why it's so much of a pick'em. My heart is telling me Nuggets, but my brain is telling me Clippers. It's one of those. I will watch every game in this series. I love watching Jokic play. Now we move on to the Warriors versus the Houston Rockets. A series that I think is also going to be close. I just think they match up so well against each other. And the fact that Steph Curry, Jimmy, and Draymond are old, they play small ball, they're older. They're not old guys in real life, but for basketball terms, they're pretty old. Going up against a team who's so good defensively. They're so young. They're so athletic. They rebound so well, and they defend so well. Steph Curry was the Warriors' leading rebounder in the game against the Grizzlies. I just think it's going to be close because they have so many people they can throw at Steph to guard him on and off the ball. They got size, they got athleticism to be able to guard Jimmy Butler. Not that I think either player are actually guardable, but they can do some damage to stop them from just going lights out. And they defend really well. This is a series where the Warriors are going to need Kuminga, and I don't know where he is. I don't know if he's benched. I don't know what's happening. This is a series where I think you need Kuminga for his rebounding ability and his athleticism, and his ability to carry the offense when the starting couple players are on the bench. I do think the Warriors are going to win this series, or at least they should win this series. I would not at all be surprised if the Rockets either make it really close, go into a game 7, or if it gets to a game 7, that might be dangerous. I just do trust playoff Jimmy and playoff Steph over a young team. I think the Rockets are maybe a year or two out before really being contenders. I have the Warriors in 6, maybe 7 if you have a bad couple games from the Warriors. But yeah, no, I have the Warriors winning this one. East matchups. The Pacers and Bucks. I talked about it last week. I'm not super excited about these East matchups. You got Tyrese Halliburton, Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner going up against Giannis, a Bucks team with no Dame, Brook Lopez, Bobby Porter Jr. I think Giannis is the best player out of both teams. I just think the Pacers just have too good of a lineup when Damian Lillard's hurt for the Bucks to compete against them. I think the Pacers should easily win this in 5-6 games. I think Giannis is going to do everything he can to win this series. I just don't have any faith that Giannis and the rest of the cast will be able to outperform the entire lineup of the Pacers to beat them in a 7-game series. I can see Giannis having a couple 40, 50-point games. A couple 40-point games, maybe one 50-point game. I just think the Pacers have too deep of a lineup for the Bucks to actually compete. If Dame were healthy and in this series, maybe that would be a really fun series to watch, but without him, as good as Giannis is, I don't think he can carry this lineup past the first round. We move on to the Knicks versus Pistons. Another series where I just feel like it's so mismatched. Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, Mitchell Robinson has been fantastic. Going up against a super young, no playoff experience Pistons team who's coached really well this year. Who's been coached really well. Cade's been amazing. He's been lights out. With Jaden Ivey, Tim Hardaway Jr., I like Tim Hardaway. Asar Thompson, both Thompson brothers are in the playoffs this year. That's amazing. That's got to be exciting for both of them. Jalen Duren, Malik Beasley, the 6th man of the year, who should be the 6th man of the year. He has shot so incredibly well this year. He might have been the best shooter out of all players this year. He's shooting like 40% from a 3, and he's taking an extremely high volume of them every game. I just think they're too young. The Knicks have such a good roster. I think the Knicks roster is better this year than it was last year. I like the addition of Karl Anthony Towns. I think Karl Anthony Towns is so good of a player. I love watching Cat play. Even the games when Jalen Brunson was hurt this year, he has been so much fun to watch. And he has been able to carry a team to more wins than I think people expected them to have. Mikal Bridges hasn't been the number one that I think everybody expected him to be, but he has done his part on this team. I think the Knicks have too much for the Pistons to handle. I think Cade's going to have 20, 25 a game. But outside of that, I mean, I think Jalen, Cat, McCall, even OG have the capability of getting 20-point games. Jalen and Cat are definitely going to have 20-point games, 25-point games, 30-point games. McCall and OG have the capability of doing that. If they find a way to hold Cade Cunningham to 25 points or less, they might close this series out in 4. I have the Knicks winning this series by maybe the most out of any other series between either the East or the West. Now, I'm saying that prior to the Thunder matchups being made and the Cavs. I think both the Cavs and the Thunder have the capability of closing their series out in 4. But out of all the series that I went over in depth just now, this one's by far going to be the least close. The Pistons are fun to watch and they're exciting, and I hope that they keep progressing the way they're progressing so they are in the playoffs every year. But yeah, Jalen and Cat, it's just too much to handle. The next series is the Celtics and Magic. I think the Celtics are 100% going all the way to the East Championship game. Maybe not all the way to the NBA Finals. For some reason, the Magic always give them a little trouble. In the regular season, they always are able to take a game or two. I don't think the Magic are good enough to beat the Celtics in a series, but I think they can steal a game. We all know how it is. The Celtics, for whatever reason, always have like a bad game 2 or 3 at home where they just get blown out. We saw that when the Heat beat them to go to the finals. But there's no way in hell the Magic are able to beat the Celtics in a 7-game series. This is not close. I think they can steal a game. I think the Celtics have a really good chance of going all the way to the finals again this year. They just have too much star power, too much ability to score points. They play defense at a very high level. I just think one of those games where the Magic play really good defense, the Celtics aren't shooting very well, they can steal a game from the Celtics. Now, right now, currently, the Miami Heat are up 13. They were up 20. They're only up 13 with 9 minutes left in the entire game. Wow, I did not expect that. I thought the Bulls would win this game, or at least make it closer than it is, and it's not. I mean, I think the entire public had Chicago being able to win. So it's looking like the Bulls are going to be completely out of the playoffs. And that means we're going to get a Heat Hawks matchup to play the Cavs. I don't think either of these teams can beat the Cavs. I don't even know that either of these teams have enough to win a game against the Cavs if the Cavs are playing on point. Maybe the Heat could steal a game if Hero has a big game, I think they could steal a game from the Cavs if the Cavs aren't shooting well on one night, but that's about it. And the next game after this is going to be the Mavericks versus Kings. Whoever plays that plays the Grizzlies and then plays the Thunder. But yes, those are my predictions for the NBA playoffs for the round 1. If you're asking me who I think is going to be in the NBA finals, I think for the West, it's going to be a Thunder year. I love watching the Thunder play. I love Shea. I love Jalen. I don't think any of the teams in the West have enough to beat them if they're playing well and they're maintaining the consistency they've maintained all year through the regular season. I don't think any of these teams can beat the Thunder, even with all the playoff experience we have in the playoffs. And in the East, I have either the Celtics or the Knicks. I think that East championship game is going to be the Celtics and the Knicks if it lines up that way. Oh, actually, I guess it's going to have to be one of the. Oh, well, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I have either the Knicks or the Cavs. Sorry, the Knicks or the Celtics go into the NBA Finals this year from the East. I think both those teams are incredible. They are so good. The only news that really came out this week was that Cam Ward makes it so obvious that the Titans are going to pick him. I think we all expected that the Titans are going to draft Cam Ward first overall. He's playing Fortnite the other day, he's streaming. And somebody in his chat asked him, who do you think are the top 4 wide receivers in the league right now? Two of his answers were Titans. Traylon Burks and Ridley. Calvin Ridley Jr. Can you make it more obvious? Does anyone honestly think Traylon Burks is a top 4 wide receiver in the league? No. I don't even think Titans fans think that. But I do applaud him trying to make relationships with his teams and talking them up. I do appreciate that more than anything. But it was funny that he just names 2 Titans and everybody's like, yep, he's getting drafted there. There ain't no doubt about it. Travis Hunter and Shador's college jerseys are getting, raised. During their next year's spring game, they're getting retired. 3 months after they stop playing for the team, they're getting retired. That's what. I don't have any problem with them retiring those jerseys for the Colorado Buffalo. I have no problem with them retiring those jerseys. I just find it amazing they did it so early. 3 months? That's crazy. Has anybody's jersey been retired 3 months after they retired? Was Jordan's Bulls jersey retired that fast? Was Kobe's Lakers jersey retired that fast? Were they incredible for the Buffalo? Yes. Nobody's doubting that. But 3 months? There's got to be like a time frame when you can do it. Hey, 3 years from now, a year from now, hell, even a year from now, but 3 months? That is insane. I cannot believe that. We're going to go to an NFL tier list. This is one of those tier lists where you have 13 to 16 wins at the top, 10 to 12 wins, 7 to 9, 5 to 6, and less than 4 wins. This is before the draft, after all the NFL, most of the NFL offseason stuff has kind of passed. This is Steelers prior to Aaron Rodgers signing, if he does. So I have to assume a lot there. Let's start with the Patriots. Vrabel gets hired as head coach. They still have a young QB. They have a lot of young players. They got to draft pretty well. They made a couple big offseason moves. I have the Patriots. I trust Vrabel a lot as a coach, but I have them a 7-9 team. 7-9 team. We're going to move the Steelers to last. Now we're on to the Cardinals. They signed Trey McBride to that huge contract. They made a couple moves, not too many. They still have a lot of young players. I'm going to go 5 to 6 wins. I don't have a lot of faith in the Cardinals this year. I'm also kind of a notorious Cardinals hater because every kid I went to school with, for a lot of the time I went to school, were Cardinals fans. Now we got the Rams. I think they're at 10 to 12. I think they're right on that barrier between 9 and 10 wins. Stafford's coming back. They don't have Cooper Kupp anymore, but they do have Puka Nacua. If they ooh. No, I'm going to no Cooper Kupp. They really haven't had him a lot in the last couple of years. They've still been a great team. I'm going to keep him at right around that 9-10 win, but I'm going to put him in the 10 category. The Seahawks. Don't hate me. I have no faith in Sam Darnold. No faith in that coaching staff. Cooper Kupp gets signed there. I don't think that's a big enough move for me to change this. I am going to go 5 to 6 wins. I don't have any faith. I might even put them lower. I can't. They're right around that 5-6 win area for me. Cowboys. They lost a lot of players this year. And, Lawrence. They haven't made too many offseason moves. They signed Miles Sanders. Woohoo. They signed a couple of they signed a punt returner in Turpin. They signed their kicker, their punter, their long snapper. That's about it. I don't have a lot of faith that the Cowboys, they always draft very flashy. I do enjoy that. I'm sure Cowboys fans enjoy that. They always draft the flashy players that everybody wants to draft. I'm going to go 7 to 9 wins. I don't think they're a playoff team. If they weren't a playoff team last year, Dak's going to be healthy. Yeah, I have them right around 7 to 9 wins. I don't think they did enough to get any higher. I think the Broncos next year are still going to be a fringe playoff team. And depending on how they match up for their division, I think they could make the playoffs next year, depending on how the other teams in the division do. But I'm going to go 7 to 9. The Ravens, I have a lot of faith in. I think they're right around that 12-13 win area for me. 13, I think the Ravens can get 13 wins. The Bengals, it is so dependent on how they draft this year. When you're paying 3 guys that over a third of your money, if any of them get hurt, you are so effed. I'm going to put them in the 7 to 9 category. I think they're closer to 9 than they are 7. I just don't have faith that they can sign enough players, draft well enough to move any higher up. Now we got the Commanders. They had a big year this year. They did so incredibly well. I'm going to go 7 to 9. I definitely think they're better than the Cowboys. I think they're right around that 9-win area. They're right around that 9-win area. Possibly 10, we will see. I have the Texans there too. To me, the Texans and the Commanders are right at the exact same place. They lost some players. They didn't make any big offseason flashy moves. They just signed some players that they love. They lose a big wide receiver. They're right around that 9-win area to me. Once the dust settled and people figured out CJ Stroud, we kind of see that they maybe aren't the team that we expected them to be during his rookie year. Teams kind of figured him out, kind of figured the offense out. I know they've been destroyed with injuries one after another. I just see them right around that 8-9 win area. The Saints. Would y'all hate me? No, I'm gonna go five wins. I don't see Derek Carr and that offense with new coaching being able to do much more. They didn't really make a bunch of offseason moves. They're paying a lot of players a lot of money. Their defense is getting old. As much as I like Cam, I don't see how this team gets any higher than 5 to 6 wins. Now, with all the Kirk drama, I think they're somewhere right around there. They're on that 4 to 5 win area. I don't think they are good enough. We've seen it with Kirk. That team looked disastrous with Kirk. They have a lot of players on their team that I love. I love a lot of their players. But how do you put them any higher than this? They have not looked good. The Bucks, I think they're 9 wins. This is such a good team. They are getting old. They're aging a bit. But I see them winning 9 games and winning their division and going to the playoffs where they can do some damage. Now the Harbaughs. Either one of them. I have faith in them. The Chargers showed me a lot more than I expected this year. And they're only going to get better. That was their first year with Harbaugh as coach. They had to dish out some contracts. They had to trade some players away. I thought they were going to be way worse than they were this year. I'm going to put them at 10 wins. I think they're going to get 10 wins. I have a lot of faith in Herbert. I think he's an incredible player. And when you have Harbaugh as your coach, building that scheme, coaching those players, the Green Bay Packers, unfortunately, I think a lot of these teams are going to fall in that 7-9 category. Maybe I'll push a couple, move a couple at the end. So apologies for that. But I think the Packers are a 9-win team. I'm going to put all the 9-win teams towards the back and all the 7 teams towards the very front of the list. I think the Packers are 7 to 9. I think they're closer to 8 to 9 wins. Jordan Love is incredible. I do like their coach. They've got a young receiving core. I just think they need to figure out their offensive line. They need to figure out some pieces on defense. Could they be a 10-win team? Absolutely. They could be a 10-win team. The Bills, 13 to 16 wins. This is a 15-win team. Josh Allen showed me so much this year, more than he ever has in the past years. They lost a lot of players. They didn't have the receiving core that we expected them to. And yet they got better to me. And I think it has a lot to do with Josh Allen's play. They lost Stephen Diggs. And now the Texans lost Stephen Diggs too. And they got better. Josh Allen got better. I don't know how that's possible. I already thought he was a top 3 quarterback in the league. And he still got better. He did more with less this year than he has in previous years when he had more. Josh Allen is so incredible of a player. I think they're 15 wins. Easy. Debate me. The Bills are in that conversation for can win a Super Bowl. You maximize the potential you have with Josh Allen when he's on your team, you have a chance every year of going to the Super Bowl. Tua and Tyreek and the Dolphins. You got a lot of drama with Tyreek. There's a chance he may not be on the team. He keeps going, I'm upset with this team. I want to leave. Then he goes, I'm going to stay a Dolphin this year. Then again, he goes, I want to be traded. Now he's having some disputes with his wife. He's had a lot of off-season issues. He's had a lot of off-the-field issues. Can Tua stay healthy? Is that defense good enough? Is Mike McDaniel good enough? They didn't sign any decent backup QB. If Tua gets hurt, damn, if he gets another concussion, he might retire, like actually retire. He's had so many bad concussions over the years. I love Mike McDaniel. I like Tua. I think Tyreek, when healthy, with a QB that can actually throw him the ball, is the best wide receiver in the league. Now, do I have faith that all those things will line up? No. I'm going to go 7 wins. Maybe even 6 wins. No, I'm going to go 7 wins. Tua stays healthy for half the games. More than half the games. I think they can get to 7 wins. If Tua and that offense can perform and stay healthy the entire season, I might put them up there, but I just have no faith that that can happen. The Jags, same way. Same thing. Trevor Lawrence went from, wow, this guy is everything they talked about in college. Then Doug Peterson gets fired. And now they look awful. The Jaguars looked awful this year. Way worse than they should have. They're not maximizing the potential they have with Trevor Lawrence. I don't like their offensive scheme. I don't like how they utilize a lot of their players. I don't have a lot of faith in the new coaching staff either. I'm going 7 wins. I'm sorry, Pat. I don't think the Colts... I don't know what happened. Anthony Richardson might not even be their QB this year. Are they going to draft a QB? I don't know. This is such a confusing situation. They signed Daniel Jones, but who has faith in Daniel Jones? He went to the playoffs because Saquon carried him to the playoffs. This is a 4-win team to me, maybe. I have no faith in the Colts this year. I didn't like any of their offseason signings. I love their coaching staff. That's what hurts the most. Their players just haven't been able to perform. Anthony Richardson should be incredible in the NFL. But he got hurt the first year. This year, he didn't look all that well. They've had a lot of internal drama. He benches himself because he's tired in the game. Never seen a QB do that. I know he does a lot. He runs a lot. If you've ever ran 80 yards down the field, anybody would be tired. But have you ever seen a QB bench themselves in the middle of the game for rest? I don't have faith. The Niners, they lost so many players this season, this offseason. This is what happens when you have a team that performs incredibly well when the QB is on a rookie contract. You get to sign big players. You get to sign them to a lot of money. You get to have a lot more players in a lot more positions when you're not having to pay your QB a large sum of the money that is allotted to the team every year. You lose Talanoa, you lose a lot of that defense. And even at that, they're going to sign Brock Purdy. They're going to sign, I hope Christian's healthy. If Christian's healthy, wow, I don't know. This one's hard for me. They lost so many players to this off season. They just didn't have the money to be able to afford them. When you're going to pay Brock $50 million a year, you're going to lose a lot of that defense. And they did. I'm going to go 7-9 wins. I think they have the makeup of a team that can win a Super Bowl and compete for a Super Bowl. But they have to rebuild. They lost a lot of those elite defensive players. They lost running backs. They lost wide receivers. Yeah, I'm going to go like 8 wins. I'm going to put them right in the middle around the Cowboys area. I'm going to go 8 wins. They have the makeup. If they draft incredibly well, sign Brock, Christian's healthy, I think they could be a 9-win team. But if Christian's still hurt, they don't draft well to replace a lot of those defensive players, this could be a 6-7-win team. And it has nothing to do with me, with Brock, or the coaching staff, or I love Shanahan. I love Brock. This feels like a rebuild year for a team that's really good. All right, this next one I'm biased. You see it. I'm an Eagles fan. What can I say? I'm going 13 wins. I thought they kept a lot more of the team than expected. They still have Saquon, Jalen. They both have wide receivers. They had to let go of a couple of the defensive line players. Didn't have to let go any of the offensive line. Well, one. They did lose Mekhi Becton. They're that fringe 12-13 spot for me. I think they're going to win the division. They kept the players that make up the makeup that made them as good as they were this year to be able to win the Super Bowl. But the Eagles are still going to be good. Oh, new coaching staff. I'm sorry, I'm biased. I'm keeping them on that 13-16 team. If I wasn't a fan, I'd probably put them one level below. But I'm an Eagles fan. I'm sorry. The Chiefs. The Chiefs are so good. Pat Mahomes is so good. I know they lost the Super Bowl this year in an ugly fashion. Every year it feels like Pat has less and less and less. And guess what he does? More and more and more. Pacheco was hurt like all year last year. Rashee Rice was nowhere to be found. I know he had some off the field stuff, was hurt. I get that. It actually felt like the Chiefs only had Travis Kelce and Pat Mahomes. It actually only felt like that. And they still went to the Super Bowl. They beat every team they shouldn't have beat. Unfortunately, they lost in such an ugly fashion and that Super Bowl wasn't close, but I still think the Chiefs are a 14-15 win team every year they have Pat. And they have Travis Kelce back. How are they not a 14-win team? Those are the only two players you need. Same with the Lions. They're going to get Aiden Hutchinson back. They're going to be a 14-win team. Now, they did lose both their offensive and defensive coordinators in Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. That might be, I'm going to put them right around the Eagles area. They didn't lose a lot of players. They maintained a lot of their players. They signed the players they needed to. Faith in the coaching staff. Yeah, I don't see how they're not a 13-win team. Genuinely. The Titans, Cam Ward Titans. This is going to be a 5 to 6 win. This is going to be a 5-win team. This is how I would probably set it up. Not much more needs to be said. Coaching staff changes. They have the first overall pick for a reason. Do I think Cam Ward is going to be good enough to carry a team past 5 wins as a rookie? I don't. Not to say he won't be incredible in the NFL for years to come. The Giants, I have faith in their coaching staff and nothing else. And Malik Neighbors. Faith in their coaching staff and Malik Neighbors. They signed Russell Wilson. I don't know. I think this is a 6-win team. Malik is so good. I don't like Russell Wilson. I don't like how he's played the last 5 years. I do have faith in their coaching staff. They're on that fringe 6-7 win team area for me. Do I be generous and say 7-win? No, I think they're going to be a 6-win team. I don't think they can beat the Commanders, the Cowboys, or the Eagles. Their roster still needs to be buffed up a bit. And when 6 of your games are against division teams, and I don't think you can win any 6 of them, that's already an automatic 6 losses. Yeah, I don't see how they're any better. Okay, the Jets. Justin Fields and the Jets. Sauce Gardner. Could it be something? New coaching staff. I just like Justin Fields and I like the way he plays, and I think he deserves the shot he's been given. He deserved the shot to be the Steelers' starting QB last year over Russ, and they didn't do it. I'm going to go 7 wins. Jets fans are going to love me for that, but yeah, 7 wins. The Vikings. Okay. I am going 10 wins. They lost Sam Darnold. Prior to being coached by Kevin O'Connell, did anybody have faith in Sam Darnold? No. Kevin O'Connell is the reason Sam Darnold got that contract. When you have Justin Jefferson, that beefy, they got Aaron Jones, they have Aaron Jones. They've got an incredible wide receiver core. Pretty decent, okay defense at times, but their offensive scheme is incredible. Kevin O'Connell is a QB whisperer. I'm going 10 wins. Now, they essentially have a rookie QB playing unless they trade for Kirk or sign Aaron Rodgers, which it seems unlikely. But this is the spot I'm putting them in. The Bears, they got Ben Johnson, they got Caleb Williams. They beefed up the offensive line. I'm going to go 7 wins. Right around that Jets area, they feel like a pretty similar team to me. I have faith in Ben Johnson. I think they're a couple years out before Caleb and him mesh well and they can perform at the level they're meant to perform at. The Bears haven't really been good at QBs and with coaching staff. But I do have faith in Ben Johnson. He's incredible. His schemes are amazing. He's a big reason the Lions are as good as they are, or as good as they were. Yeah, this is where I'm going to put them. The Raiders. The Raiders. They're essentially the same team that the Seahawks were before he got fired with Russell Wilson. Or, with Geno Smith, sorry. And they were an 8-win team. Yeah, I'm going to go right around the Cowboys area. I'm going to go 8 wins for the Raiders this year. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Yeah. I'm going to go 8 wins. Panthers. Sorry. What else can anybody say? That's a 4-win team. I don't think anything else needs to be said. Their offense is horrible. They got a bad coaching staff. They got bad coaching of the QB, and so the QB has performed incredibly bad. I do like him as a QB, but he's been so unlucky since he got into the NFL. The Browns are a 5-win team. They're handcuffed by the Deshaun Watson contract. They are. If they draft Shedeur, maybe I'd bump this up, but I don't think they're going to draft Shedeur. I think they're going to try to just ride this out. Even if Deshaun's healthy all year, I don't think they're more than a 5-6 win team. I don't know. Now the next one with the Steelers. Remember, they signed DK. They signed Darius Slay. They have not signed Aaron Rodgers yet. I do think they will sign Aaron Rodgers. So an Aaron Rodgers led Steelers team. This is a 9-win team to me, guys. I have faith in Aaron Rodgers. I do. The Jets got incredibly unlucky. I think their offensive line wasn't good enough. They didn't beef it up. They didn't beef it up between the first and second season. The coaching staff was Aaron gets hurt the first year, and then he comes back the second year off a Achilles injury. We saw how that affected Kirk, and they still were in that 6-7 win team area. But a Steelers team with Aaron Rodgers, ooh, you know what? They are right on that fringe. They're right on that fringe 9-10 win area. I think no matter what, the Steelers are always gonna win 9 games. He's never had a losing season as a head coach. They might lose TJ Watt. If they lose TJ Watt, I have no problem leaving them where they are or lower. Definitely lower if they lose TJ Watt. His stats weren't incredible this year. Ooh. This one is tough, guys. This is assuming a lot. This is assuming Aaron Rodgers gets signed and TJ Watt stays. If TJ Watt loses, I think they're right around that Niners area. I'm going to leave him here. I love Aaron Rodgers. I have faith in Aaron Rodgers. Coming off a second year since his Achilles injury, yeah, I'm going 9 wins. They're on that 9-10 fringe spot for me, guys. Now, I would love for you guys to debate me in the comments about this. I would enjoy it a lot. I would have so much fun doing that. I know everybody has a different opinion on this. I'm I know there's so many teams in that 7 to 9 win spot. Some of these teams are hard to decide. Like the Bears, how are you going to know if they're a 6-7 win team? I've got it like this in that 10 spot. I'm going to go like that. The fun thing is, I'm going to screenshot this, save this. So next year, when the season ends, we can look back at it and go, how close was I? That's all the news for today, guys. I had a lot of fun talking NBA playoff predictions. I really did. I had a lot of fun doing the NFL tier list. It might change once the draft starts, but I wanted to do it pre-draft and maybe after draft. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Again, debate me on anything in the comments. These are all debatable topics. Who's going to win the NBA Finals? Who's going to be the best team in the NFL next year? Who's going to be the worst team in the NFL next year? But again, leave a like, subscribe, comment. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Peace, guys.